Hello, my name is Michelle, and I live in a 2021 Ford Transit van with my dog Blaze that we built out with help from friends and family. Welcome to our van build series, where we show you all of the trials and tribulations and success that we experienced over the past 8.5 months. Let's jump into this week's video, which is month number 8.5. But first, let me catch you up. We left my dad home alone with the dogs and the van build because I had a $1,200 Delta flight credit that I had to use before it expired. And so my mom and I took a trip to Santa Catalina Island off of the coast of California, and it was stunning. We got a 6-mile hike in, we explored the casino, we explored the museum, we took a tour to the interior of the island, and we walked every single day to the Lovers Cove point, to you name it, we went to it. It was beautiful. I highly recommend it. Okay, now let's jump into the video. My dad accomplished so much while we were on the island. He installed all of the doors and drawer fronts. He permanently mounted the induction cooktop, and he installed a strip of molding between the wall and the ceiling on the passenger side to hide the gap. Installing screens on the doors was not easy. Mom's putting in the final screen door.
In the floor.
Mom's sewing the bug screen for the sliding door. This is entertaining, isn't it? And it works. Nice job, Mom. Here's a look at the rear screen doors. Being connected 100% of the time is crucial when you work from the road. The last thing you want to do when you're living in a van is to have to move something or set up something before you can do something else. And so I opted to have the Starlink permanently mounted on the roof, and I went with this trio flat mount and used the magnet option. Here's a look at the Starlink Gen3 installed on the roof with the trio flat mount. The mount is super easy to attach, and with the magnets, all you do is put it on the roof and you're done. I found a mount for the router and battery block on Etsy. I'll put a link to it and the other items down below. Moving into a tiny space in a short amount of time is frantic. I highly recommend that you give yourself a minimum of 2 weeks to move in and time to adjust and pare down and reorganize everything. You can't do it overnight, trust me. You should always take your van on a shakedown run before a long-term trip or full-time living so that you can figure out all the quirks and things that you need to address before you start your official adventure. I knew that the Starlink Gen3 used more energy than the prior versions, but I wanted it anyways because it was the latest and greatest technology. I quickly learned that it used way too much energy, so I looked for a better solution. After scouring YouTube for all of the options, I landed on this 12-volt converter from Trio Flat Mount and installed it as soon as it arrived. To save on weight, I went with peel and stick tile for the sink backsplash. Good afternoon. I am currently making a template for the backsplash so that I can put up some peel and stick tile. I'm in the process of cutting all these tiles and then peeling and sticking them to this wall. The first one's in. I have a couple more to cut, and then this wall will be done, minus applying some caulk to the seams. Peel and stick wall, tile wall is in, and I'm getting ready to caulk around the sink edge as well as the induction cooktop edge. Making sure that everything you put into a van has a designated spot is crucial for your sanity. And so I worked on this drawer organization with my dad. We cut 1/4-inch ply to size and then routered inserts so that each piece could interlock with the other and everything could be organized. Stick around for the end of the video where I give you a quick tour. What did I learn this month? Well, I learned that you should stir your stain before every application because when we left, all the doors that we had stained and all the wood, the countertops we had stained looked great. But when I came back and I went to stain the doors for the upper cabinets, the stain was extremely dark, and it's because it was at the bottom of the barrel. And I never stirred the stain from the time I mixed it to the time that we got back. So stir your stain. Okay, it's really not that hard. I just didn't know that you were supposed to do that. Oh well. One thing I definitely recommend that you should do is take your van on a test run or a camping trip after each major installation to see if there's any noises or rattles that you need to address, see how your power consumption is working or not. Because I noticed that the Starlink Gen3, which I knew going into ordering it, used more power than the Gen 1 or the Gen 2, but I wanted the latest and greatest technology. So I was willing to sacrifice. But I didn't realize how much it would use. And I learned during that test trip to South Carolina that I needed to make a switch. That's when I started to investigate 12-volt options. And luckily, I found one, installed it, and was finally on my way living the ultimate van life of my dreams. At the end of the day, I spent a grand total, all in, y'all, this is all in, of $21,389. That includes all of the components that we installed at the last few weeks, last few moments of this van build, as well as I needed a second key fob. I needed to get it programmed, which is so expensive. I didn't include it here, but I got an oil change, a tire, an alignment, and an inspection before I left town. And I got new tires. I went with some Michelin Agilis Cross Climate DTs. That's what Discount Tire recommended and what my parents recommended from a brand standpoint. And then we've got this catch-all, which is like all the little bolts and things that I didn't account for, but I know that I bought them. So yeah, we're at $21,389. My budget was like $15,500, I think. So I went over budget, and that's to be expected. You're gonna make layout choices, change your mind about things, decide or learn that you need to buy a 12-volt converter for your Starlink so it doesn't use as much battery. You can't account for all of that. So there's always going to be some supplemental charges like that catch-all. Welcome to my new home on wheels. She is finally done, and I am so happy with the end result. Here's a quick tour of all that we accomplished over the past 8.5 months. Be on the lookout for an upcoming full van tour and more videos on the way. Take good care of yourself.